There are moments that don't just disappoint you, they collapse you. A single conversation, a look, a decision which you didn't see coming. And suddenly your body is in survival mode. Your stomach drops. Your chest caves in. Heat floods your face. Time slows. And you want to disappear. Not because the moment itself is life-threatening, but because something ancient just came back online. It's Buttercup. I'm the core wounds girl. And this is where we understand why the fire keeps burning long after the original lightning strike. I've owned and run 4 large yoga studios. The first was in Greenwich, Connecticut, when I was married. Teaching yoga wasn't just work for me, it was sanctuary. My marriage was deeply unhappy and rather violent, and the studio was where I found myself. And it was actually where I first began channeling. It's where I felt peace, where I felt love, and where I felt purpose. I taught a lot. I taught about 20 classes every week, and it was a huge part of my life. But I didn't enjoy the business side of the yoga studio. Cleaning services not showing up, juice bar chaos, endless logistics. So I agreed to sell the studio on one condition, that I would continue teaching there. The sale went through and I showed up to teach my first class as a non-owner. And the new owner said, "You've been taken off the schedule. We've decided you're not qualified to teach." I was stunned. I was mortified. But my deepest reaction wasn't anger. It was actually shame. A tidal wave of shame. My stomach dropped, my chest collapsed, heat rushed through my body, and I felt exposed. I felt small. I felt wrong. I wanted to disappear. I felt like I wanted to die. When friends asked why I wasn't teaching there anymore, I lied. I made up stories. Anything to hide the shame, anything to avoid people seeing what I was actually feeling inside. I felt unworthy. I felt unlovable. I felt rejected. Was I a bad teacher? I was a bad person, I felt. Truly, this was my abandonment wound being activated. Here's the teaching. The original incident is the lightning strike. It's a moment in childhood, usually between birth and the age of 7, that overwhelms the nervous system. The strike ignites a fire, the wound that keeps burning beneath your life. But the fire doesn't stay quiet. As we move through life, people, places, and situations trigger us like gusts of wind flaring the fire again. The adult moment that I was experiencing back then isn't the origin, it's activation. And when the wound flares, your reaction feels irrational because the pain is not current. It's stored, it's frozen, it's timeless. In that yoga studio moment, I wasn't just losing a teaching role, I was reliving an emotional imprint laid down long before. The feeling of being publicly shamed, the humiliation, the sense of being wrong, it traced straight back to my mother's endless public shaming of me as a child. It was a different stage, but it was the same emotional fire. Here's the second teaching. Triggers are not punishments. They're signposts. They point precisely to where the wound still burns. But when the fire flares, we run away. Of course we run away. No one walks calmly into flames. We hide, we lie, we perform strength, we numb, we control, we overwork, we chase validation. These are protective strategies. They are the layers of self-sabotage which we explored in an earlier video. Now, running away does not extinguish the fire. On the contrary, it feeds it. Avoidance is oxygen, so the wind returns again and again. Different circumstances, same emotional burn. And here's a third teaching. Fragments exist outside linear time. A part of you is still trapped inside the original storm. And when you're triggered, you don't just remember the wound, you re-experience it. That's why triggers feel life-threatening. That's why shame can feel like death. That's why the reaction is bigger than the moment. Healing begins when we stop running away. Back to my story. After a day or two, I chose to sit with my feelings. I could see the absurdity of believing I was unqualified. I had built the studio, I'd built the community. They were my students, I'd trained the teachers, I'd held the space. But the wound had been triggered. And when wounds activate, we believe the old story. Sitting with my feelings softened the fire. Awareness entered. Choice returned. This is the work. Not suppressing reaction, not fixing the outside, turning gently toward the fire instead of running away from it. And deeper still, beyond the wound is the fragmented piece of the soul carrying the original unfelt experience. That part cannot be reached through logic. It requires guided retrieval, and that's the deeper work we'll do together. You're not dramatic. You're not broken. You're not overreacting. You were struck as if by lightning, and your system learned how to survive the fire. Now, you're learning how to come home to wholeness. If this resonates, make sure to watch the next video in this series which is about the deeper spiritual perspective of trauma and why nothing in life is truly personal. And if you're ready to heal your wounds at the root, join the full course, which is linked for you below this video. I've also included a free guided initiation to help you begin your healing of your core wounds right now. Healing core wounds changes everything.